welcome to a night of relaxation. I'm your storyteller, and I'm here to guide you to restful sleep. Make sure to like and subscribe, then get comfy and let the soothing sounds of rain and wind carry you away. The Ashwood National Forest had been my second home for 6 years. As a park ranger, I thought I knew everything about it, every winding trail, every ancient tree, every rustling sound carried by the wind. But what happened to me in the autumn of 1996 made me question everything I believed about the wild. My name is Wes Fairbanks, and that was the night I realized that some things in the forest were never meant to be seen. It was late afternoon when the call came in from the ranger station. A group of campers had reported strange noises echoing through the woods. Not the usual sounds of deer crashing through the brush or coyotes howling in the distance. This was different. Something bigger, heavier, something that didn't move like any animal they had ever heard before. Normally, I would have written it off as an overactive imagination, city folks getting spooked by the ordinary sounds of the wild. But there was something in the caller's voice, tremor of fear that unsettled me. I glanced at Frank, my coworker, who was flipping through an old magazine behind the front desk. I'm heading out to check on something. Shouldn't be long, I said, grabbing my radio. Frank didn't even look up. He just smirked. Good luck, Wes. Try not to let the werewolves drag you off. I chuckled, but something about his joke sent a cold ripple down my spine. The area where the sounds had been reported was nearly 3 miles from the station, off one of the less traveled trails. The hike was uneventful, but as I got deeper into the forest, I noticed something odd. The silence. No birds. No wind rustling the canopy. No distant hoots of owls waking from their slumber. Just a heavy, suffocating stillness that clung to the air. I told myself it was just my imagination. Maybe the weather was about to change. Maybe I wasn't paying attention. But as I walked, that feeling of unease only grew. The campsite finally came into view, a small clearing surrounded by towering pines. There were signs that someone had been there recently, beer cans scattered around a fire pit, a tent that had collapsed in on itself, probably just some hikers who packed up in a hurry. Then I saw the backpack, ripped in half, not torn at the seams, not chewed by an animal, ripped clean through, like something had sliced it with a blade. The dirt around it was disturbed. Not footprints, not tracks, but deep grooves, as if something heavy had been dragged across the ground. My gut twisted. This wasn't normal. I reached for my radio, but before I could call it in, something moved at the edge of the clearing, a shadow shifting just beyond the trees. I turned quickly, shining my flashlight towards the darkness. Nothing, but I knew something was there, watching, waiting. I stood there, flashlight in hand, scanning the tree line. My breath was slow, controlled, but inside, my heart was pounding like a war drum. Something had moved. I was sure of it. The problem was, the light wasn't catching anything. Just tree stall, ancient pines stretching towards the sky, their branches swaying ever so slightly in the faint breeze. But that breeze hadn't been there a second ago. The forest felt wrong. It wasn't just the silence. It was the emptiness, like something had drained the air of life. Even the wind seemed hesitant to move through this part of the woods. I clicked my radio. Frank, you there? Static. I tried again. Frank, come in. More static. I checked the device. The battery was fine. The signal should have been strong enough to reach him. But all I got was that faint, eerie crackle, like something was whispering just below the static's surface. I exhaled through my nose. Maybe it was the trees blocking the signal. Maybe I was just on the wrong frequency. I'd try again in a few minutes. But first, I had to figure out what the hell happened here. I stepped closer to the backpack, crouching down to examine it. The fabric was shredded, the straps barely holding together. It was hard to tell if anything had been inside. It was too ruined to tell. but something about the way it was ripped apart unsettled me. No animal did this. Bears, coyotes, they tear through things, they bite, they gnaw. But this was different. It was like something deliberate had done it, like something with hands. A sudden snap echoed through the trees behind me. I spun around, flashlight beam cutting through the darkness. Nothing. The trees stood still, indifferent. The underbrush remained untouched. Then another sound, this time closer. It wasn't a branch breaking. It was breathing. Low, heavy, wet. I swallowed, my grip tightening around the flashlight. I knew I wasn't alone. The air pressed down on me, thick with something unnatural. My instincts screamed at me to run, but I forced myself to stay put. If I ran, I wouldn't stop running. I turned back toward the campsite, trying to think, trying to focus. If there had been campers here, where were they? Had they run into something out here? Had they made it out? Or worse, were they still somewhere in the woods? I had to find out. I took a few careful steps into the tree line, scanning the ground for any signs of movement. My boots crunched against the dry leaves, each step loud in the unnatural silence. That's when I saw it, a trail leading deeper into the forest. The dirt was disturbed, scattered leaves covering what looked like drag marks. Something had been pulled away from the campsite, something heavy, and whoever or whatever did it was still out there. The trail was unmistakable. Something or someone had been dragged through the dirt, the uneven grooves cutting deep into the forest floor. Leaves and twigs had been pushed aside, revealing the damp earth beneath, as if whatever had been taken had struggled. I swallowed hard. I wasn't sure. I wanted to know what was at the end of that trail, but I had to find out. I clicked my radio again, my voice lower this time. "Frank, if you can hear me, I found something. I'm following a trail about 3 miles out from the station. Something's not right out here." Static. The same whispering static. I hissed through my teeth. Damn it. I was really starting to hate that sound. But I didn't turn back. Instead, I followed the drag marks deeper into the forest. The trees grew thicker here. The path narrowed, the branches tangling together above me, blocking out what little light remained. The sky had darkened, the sun dipping low behind the ridgeline, casting the woods into shadow. I walked carefully, my boots crunching against the dead leaves, my flashlight scanning ahead. I saw snapped branches along the way, big ones. Something or someone had barreled through here in a hurry. Then, I noticed something else. The drag marks stopped. Not faded, not scattered, just stopped. Like whatever had been dragged, had been lifted. A chill crawled up my spine. I swung my flashlight around, scanning the trees, searching for anything, anyone. Nothing. Just the deep, black void of the forest pressing in, all around me. Then I saw it. Something dangling from a tree limb about 20 yards ahead. I moved closer, my stomach tightening. It was a piece of cloth, tangled in the branches, dark, stiff. Dried blood stained the fabric. I swallowed, reaching up to pull it loose. It was part of a shirt, shredded and crusted over with something dark. That's when I saw the bones. They were small too, small scattered in the underbrush. A deer, maybe, but they didn't look chewed. They weren't scattered the way scavengers would leave them. They had been placed there, deliberately, arranged in a pattern, something too precise to be natural. A crude circle, with symbols etched into the dirt around them. I backed up. Everything inside me screamed to leave, to get out of there now. But before I could move, before I could even think, the breathing returned. Not far away this time, right behind me. Low, heavy, wet. I turned, flashlight beam slicing through the trees, and caught a glimpse of something huge moving between the trunks. Not a bear, not a man, something else. Something that wasn't supposed to exist. The flashlight beam caught only a glimpse of it, a massive shape, dark and hunched, slipping between the trees just beyond my reach. Too tall for a bear. Too fast for a man. Wrong. I felt my breath hitch in my throat. It had been watching me, and now it was moving. I took a slow step back, my boots barely making a sound on the damp earth. My mind screamed at me to turn and run, but every instinct told me that if I did, I wouldn't get far. I forced myself to keep the flashlight steady, sweeping it in the direction the thing had disappeared. Nothing. The woods were too still, the air thick and heavy, pressing down on me like I was somewhere I wasn't supposed to be. The symbols around the bones seemed to shift in the light. My mind tried to make sense of them, but something in me, some primal part, didn't want to understand. The feeling of being watched was unbearable now, not just from one direction, from all around me. I raised the radio to my lips again, my voice barely above a whisper. "Frank, if you can hear me, something's out here." I snap. A branch broke, close, too close. I whipped around, flashlight darting toward the sound, and I saw it, for the first time. Tall, wrong, twisted. The creature stood between the trees, half hidden in the darkness. Its limbs were too long, its posture hunched, almost human, but not. Its eyes, God, its eyes. They glowed, a deep, unnatural amber, catching the light like a predator, staring from the void. And it was looking right at me, not like an animal would, like a thing that understood exactly what it was seeing. My fingers tightened around the baton at my belt, useless as it was. My body wanted to freeze, to stay locked in place, but I forced myself to move slowly, backing away, toward the direction I had come from. The thing's head tilted. The movement was wrong. Too smooth, too deliberate, like it was curious. Then it stepped forward, not fast, not charging, just moving closer, like it wasn't afraid of me at all, like it knew I was the one who should be afraid. I turned and ran. I didn't think, I just ran. Branches lashed against my face, thorns ripping at my sleeves as I barreled through the underbrush, not caring about the noise anymore. The silence behind me shattered. A low, bone-chilling sound rose from the trees, not quite a growl, not quite a howl, something deep, unnatural, ancient. It was following. I could hear the heavy footfalls, the creak of branches as it moved through the forest behind me. It wasn't rushing, wasn't lunging. It was stalking me, a cruel, patient pursuit, like a predator playing with its food. I burst into the clearing where the torn backpack still lay, legs burning, lungs on fire. The trail back to the station was a head nut. Fry could make it, I could. Then the radio crackled. A voice. Wes. Frank. For the first time, I heard his voice, and he sounded terrified. Wes? Frank's voice came through the radio, crackling with static. But something was wrong. His voice sounded strained, barely above a whisper, like he was trying not to be heard. If you can hear me, you need to. Then the signal cut out. Just static. That same unnerving whispering static that made my skin crawl. I didn't stop running. The creature was still behind. I could hear it. Not crashing through the woods like a wild animal. It was moving carefully, deliberately, toying with me. My boots slammed against the ground as I sprinted through the forest, my breath ragged, the beam of my flashlight bouncing wildly. I knew these trails. I had walked them 100 times, but now, they felt alien, unfamiliar. The trees looked different, somehow, taller, twisted, like they were closing in around me. I nearly stumbled, catching myself against a tree, gasping for breath. I couldn't stop. Then, silence. The footsteps behind me stopped. I froze. My breath was loud in my ears, my heart hammering. I turned, slowly, flashlight shaking in my grip. The thing was gone. The woods were empty again. Just the darkness and the thick, heavy air pressing against my skin. But I knew. It was still there, watching, waiting. the same way a spider watches a fly struggle in its web. "Frank," I hissed into the radio. Nothing but static. Then, a noise. Not the creature. Not an animal. A human sound. A voice, deep in the woods, somewhere ahead of me. Soft. Faint. Calling my name. Wes. I swallowed hard. It wasn't Frank. It sounded like him, but something was off. The tone, the cadence too slow. Too careful. Like someone was trying to imitate his voice. I took a step back. The trees shifted in my flashlight beam. I couldn't see anything, but I could feel it. Something was out there. Something that wanted me to come closer. I turned and ran again. This time, I didn't stop until I saw it. The ranger station. The cabin stood just ahead, its lights barely cutting through the dark. My chest ached as I stumbled toward the door, slamming into it, hands fumbling for the handle. I shoved it open, barreled inside, and locked it behind me. For a moment, I just stood there, gasping, listening. Outside, the forest was still. I didn't trust it. Then, the radio crackled. I turned toward the desk. The radio was on, but I hadn't touched it. Then the voice came through again. "Wes, let me in." I went cold. The voice was right outside the door, and it sounded exactly like Frank. "Wes, let me in." The voice was right outside the door. My blood turned to ice. I stepped back, heart hammering, eyes locked on the door. The wooden frame creaked as something shifted outside, a faint, unnatural weight pressing against it. I gripped my baton with white-knuckled fingers. "Frank." My voice came out hoarse. Silence. Then, "It's me, Wes. Open up." The voice was wrong. Almost perfect, but not quite. The tone was there, the inflection, but it was too careful. Like someone had studied Frank's voice, rehearsed it, and was now repeating it back to me. Something cold slithered through my chest. It wasn't him. It wasn't human. I swallowed hard and took another step back. My breathing was shaky, my skin too tight, my body screaming at me to do something, anything except stand there like an idiot. The door rattled. Not a knock. A push. Gentle. Testing. The wood creaked again. Then, from outside, a low exhale. Heavy. Wet. The same breathing I had heard in the woods. I squeezed my eyes shut. This wasn't happening. It couldn't be real. I reached for the radio, my hands slick with sweat. I clicked it on. "Frank, if you're out there." Static. No, not static. Whispers. Soft curling sounds like voices just beneath the surface. Then laugh. A quiet, choking kind of laughter, like something trying to mimic human amusement, but failing. I dropped the radio like it had burned me. Then, the handle turned. I almost screamed. The door was locked, but whatever was on the other side was trying to open it. Calm down. Think. The windows were shut. The door was locked. There was no other way inside, but that thing, it was still there, waiting, testing, trying to get me to make a mistake. I took a deep breath. I had to move. The rifle. I needed the rifle. I turned toward the gun rack on the wall. My hands were shaking so badly I fumbled the bullets, nearly dropping them as I loaded the rifle. My breath coming too fast, my chest too tight. Then, a soft tap at the window. My body locked up. The ranger station had one small window on the side, facing the slowly, like my muscles weren't mine anymore. I turned my head toward it, and I saw it. A face, just barely visible through the glass. But not Frank's face. Too stretched, too long. The mouth was too wide, curling at the edges, in a way a human mouth wasn't supposed to move. And the eyes. Jesus Christ, the eyes. Amber, glowing, locked onto mine. And the thing, it smiled. A cold, creeping dread spread through me. It had followed me. It had found me. And now, it was playing with me. The thing outside the window didn't blink. It didn't move. It just watched, like it was waiting for me to make a mistake, for me to invite it in, for me to let it win. I tore my gaze away, my breath coming in sharp bursts. The rifle felt heavier in my hands. My grip was slick with sweat. I took a step back. Another. My mind screamed at me to do something, but I didn't know what. The window, the door, the thing outside. And then, the voice came again. Wes. This time, it sounded just like me. Wes. It was my voice, coming from the thing outside. My stomach lurched, a deep and primal nausea curling in my gut. That wasn't possible. It was just Frank's voice a moment ago. And now no, 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 no. I gripped the rifle tighter, my pulse hammering behind my ears. My own name spoken in my own voice hung in the air like a sick, twisted echo. Slowly, I turned back, toward the window. It was still there, still watching. The stretched, unnatural face pressed close to the glass, its teeth bared in something that wasn't quite a smile, and its mouth was still moving. But the voice was inside the room now, a whisper, right behind me. Wes. I spun so fast my boots slipped against the wooden floor, my shoulders slamming into the wall. Nothing. There was nothing behind me, just the empty cabin, the dim glow of the radio, the flickering light from the single overhead bulb. But I felt it, the weight of something in the room. The air was thick, suffocating, like I wasn't alone, like something was standing just outside my vision. I forced myself to breathe. My hands trembled against the rifle's stock. The thing outside the window tilted its head, and then it laughed, the exact way I laugh. The sound hit me like a punch to the gut. I couldn't take this. I had to end it. I raised the rifle, pointed it straight at the thing's head. The amber eyes glowed in the darkness, locked onto mine. The thing didn't flinch. I steadied my aim, my breath ragged, finger on the trigger. Shoot it. That's what my instincts screamed. That's what my body wanted to do. But my mind whispered something else. What if it doesn't work? A bead of sweat dripped down my forehead. I had seen what this thing could do. It had followed me through the woods. It had mimicked Frank's voice. And now it was wearing my voice too. Would a bullet even hurt it? Or would it only make it angry? I gritted my teeth, my finger hovering over the trigger. Then the lights flickered, and the thing outside the window moved, not backing away, forward. And for the first time, I saw its arms, too long, too thin, too many joints. One of them reached for the window. I fired. The shot shattered the glass. The cabin erupted with sound, the boom of the gunshot, the deafening ring of the broken window. But the thing was already gone. Silence. I stood there, gasping for breath, rifle still raised. The woods outside were black and empty. No movement, no glowing eyes, just the broken shards of glass at my feet, the cold air slipping into the cabin. I licked my lips, my body trembling with leftover adrenaline. Was it gone? Or was it waiting? The radio crackled, and this time, it was Frank's voice. The real one. Wes, Jesus Christ. Are you there? What the hell is going on? I grabbed the radio, my hands still shaking. Frank, where the hell are you? I rasped. A pause. Then, I'm at the tower, man. The radio cut out for a while. I've been trying to reach you. I heard a shot. What's going on? The tower. That was miles away. Frank hadn't been anywhere near the cabin. That thing outside it had never been him. I felt sick. Frank. I swallowed hard. There's something out here. A long silence. Then Wes. His voice was quiet. Serious. You need to leave. Now. Wes. You need to leave. Now. Frank's voice was steady, but I could hear the strain beneath it. The kind of tone a man uses when he's trying not to panic. I swallowed. My throat was dry, My hands ached from gripping the rifle too hard. "Frank, what the hell is this thing?" I whispered. A long pause crackled over the radio. Then, "I don't know, man. But you're not the first to see it." A chill rolled through me. Not the first. I looked back at the shattered window. The cold air seeped in, but the woods beyond were silent, empty. But I knew it was still out there, watching, waiting. I pressed the radio closer to my mouth. "What do you mean?" I asked. Another pause. Then Frank exhaled, low and sharp. "You remember Ranger Lewis? The guy who worked the night shift before me?" I did. Older guy. Always quiet. Always seemed like he had seen something he couldn't explain. Yeah, he quit. Wes. Walked out one night, left all his gear behind. Never came back. A knot tightened in my stomach. He told me once that something was out here, Frank continued. His voice was quieter now, like he didn't want to be overheard. Said it could take faces, that if you heard it calling your name, it was already too late. My skin went cold. I turned back toward the door, my breath coming faster. Something had called my name. Something had mimicked me. Had I already lost? The thought made my skin crawl. "Frank," I said, forcing my voice to stay steady, "how do I get out of here?" A rustling sound crackled through the radio. "You still have the truck." I glanced toward the corner of the room, where my keys were hanging on the hook. My truck was parked outside, but that meant going back out there, where it was waiting. I clenched my jaw. "Yeah, I've got it. Get in. Don't look back. Just drive." I grabbed my keys, shoving them into my pocket. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. Then I heard it. From outside. "Wes." My own voice. I went still. The radio in my hand hissed. "Wes." Frank's voice came urgent. "Don't listen to it. Just go." The voice outside spoke again, closer this time. "Wes, open the door." "No, no, no, no." I tightened my grip on the rifle and backed toward the door. The cabin felt smaller now, like the walls were closing in. I reached for the doorknob, my palms slick with sweat. The thing outside didn't knock. It didn't try to force its way in. It just stood there, waiting. I took a deep breath, braced myself, and then I threw open the door. Cold air rushed in. The night was pitch black. The trees loomed, their shadows stretching toward me like reaching hands. But nothing was there. No glowing eyes, no twisted face. Just the wind, whispering through the trees. I didn't trust it. I gritted my teeth, gripping the rifle tighter, and moved fast. I bolted across the clearing, boots pounding against the dirt, breath ragged. The truck was right ahead, 20 feet, 15, 10. Then, the radio crackled again, and Frank's voice came through. "Wes, stop." I froze. My hand was already on the truck door, but something felt wrong. Then I saw it. The passenger side window. A reflection. My reflection. But the eyes were wrong. Too big. Too bright. They were glowing. The moment I saw those glowing eyes in the truck's reflection, something inside me snapped. That wasn't me. The person staring back wasn't me. My breath hitched, my body locking up. The world felt wrong, tilted, as if the ground beneath me wasn't real. The figure in the reflection moved, but I didn't. Its lips curled into a smile, and then it knocked. From inside the truck, a slow, deliberate tap, tap, tap on the inside of the glass. I staggered back, my heart slamming against my ribs. "Jesus Christ," I gasped. The truck was empty. It had to be. I fumbled with my rifle, nearly dropping it as I swung it up, aiming straight at the reflection or whatever the hell it was. The smile on my other self's face widened. I knew what it was doing. It was waiting. Waiting for me to make a mistake. Waiting for me to get in. I wasn't that stupid. I turned to run, and then the truck door unlocked. A loud, sharp click, like someone had flipped the lock from the inside. "Wes, get away from there." Frank's voice shouted through the radio, yanking me back to reality. My fingers dug into the rifle's grip, my breath coming too fast. I didn't hesitate. I bolted. I turned and ran, straight back to the cabin, not looking back, not stopping. I could feel something behind me, not footsteps, not movement, but a presence, a weight, like a shadow pressing against my spine. My boots slammed onto the porch, my hands barely working as I ripped the cabin door open and threw myself inside. I kicked it shut, locked it, braced against it, and waited. The silence that followed was unbearable. I listened, trying to hear anything over my own ragged breathing. The wind howled outside, the trees swayed. The radio hissed in my hand, but there was no knock, no voice, no movement. The truck was right outside. Whatever had been in there was still inside, waiting. "Wes," Frank's voice came through again, quieter this time. "Listen to me. Stay inside. Don't open the door for anything. You understand?" I swallowed hard. "Frank, what the hell is happening?" A long pause crackled through the radio. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, "It knows you now. It knows you now." Frank's voice hung in the air, as heavy as the darkness pressing against the cabin walls. My breath came in shallow gasps. The rifle felt useless in my hands because I was no longer sure this thing could be fought. I licked my lips. They were dry. "Frank," I whispered into the radio, forcing the words out. "What does that mean?" A long, crackling silence. "Then, you need to get out of there." My legs felt weak. I turned back toward the window, the broken glass letting in the bitter cold. The wind outside had picked up, but the woods were too quiet. No footsteps, no movement, no eyes staring back at me from the dark. But that didn't mean it was gone. I turned away, gripping the radio tighter. Asterisk the truck. I started. "No," Frank cut me off, his voice sharp. "Not the truck." My stomach turned. "Frank, I don't. It's waiting for you to get inside." The words sent a fresh wave of dread through me. I felt sick. What the hell is it? My voice was barely above a whisper. Frank exhaled. I could hear the strain in his voice. "I don't know," he admitted, "but it's been here before." I clenched my jaw before a pause. "Then, there's a reason that area of the park is closed off." My mind was spinning. The old cases, the missing campers, the weird reports from hikers who had seen things but could never explain what. We always chalked it up to wild animals, exhaustion, fear. But Frank had known. I swallowed hard, my throat aching. "How do I get out of here?" Frank hesitated. "Listen to me. There's an old service road a half-mile from the station northwest side. You know it." I did. Barely used. Half overgrown. It led back to the main highway, but it was dangerous as hell, in the dark. "Yeah, take that. Don't take the truck. Don't stop. And Wes," a pause, "no matter what you hear, no matter what you see, don't talk to it." A fresh wave of cold terror washed through me. "What do you mean, BANG?" I nearly jumped out of my skin. Something had hit the cabin wall. Hard. Then, a slow, dragging sound, like fingernails scraping over wood. I went still, my heart slamming against my ribs. The sound moved, circling toward the broken window. And then, a voice. My voice. "Wes." Right outside the window. My knees nearly buckled. I turned, rifle trembling in my grip, and then I saw it. The thing from the forest. But it wasn't hiding anymore. It was standing right outside, watching me, waiting. It was right outside the window, no longer lurking, no longer hiding. It was standing there, fully exposed, under the dim porch light. And it was wearing my face. Not exactly. Something was off. The skin was too pale, stretched too tight over the skull. The eyes were the worst part. They were too big, too bright, too hungry, and it was smiling. A wide, unnatural grin, like it knew something I didn't, like it was enjoying this. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. I just stood there, staring at myself, staring back at me. Then, the thing raised its hand. It placed one long, unnatural finger against the broken glass, and in my own voice, "Let me in." I staggered back. No. It tilted its head, that horrible smile never fading. "Come on, Wes," it said, still mimicking my voice. "You're not really afraid of yourself, are you?" It laughed. Soft at first, then louder, like a chorus of twisting echoes, my voice splitting and folding over itself 100 times. I squeezed my eyes shut. "Frank," I hissed into the radio. "It's right outside." Static. For a terrifying moment, I thought I had lost him. Then, "Wes, listen to me. Don't talk to it. Don't let it in." My fingers dug into the rifle, knuckles white. "No shit," I whispered, but the thing outside heard that, and it grinned wider. Then it moved. Too fast. Too wrong. One moment it was standing at the window, the next, it was beside the front door. It didn't walk. It just shifted, like reality had skipped forward a frame. A long, unnatural shadow stretched under the doorway. I felt sick. "Wes," it whispered through the wood, not knocking, just waiting. "Wes, let's go home." My stomach lurched. "You don't belong here." The words sent a deep, primal dread crawling up my spine. It knew. It knew I was going to run. I backed away from the door, my breaths coming fast. "Frank," I whispered. "Yeah, I'm leaving." "Now." Frank exhaled, relieved. "Good. Get to the service road. Don't stop. Don't look back." The thing outside laughed again, as if it had heard everything, as if it knew exactly what I was about to do. I clenched my jaw. I had to move. I grabbed my bag essentials only. Rifle, flashlight, extra batteries. I ignored the truck. I wouldn't get in. I wouldn't let it trap me inside. I reached for the back door, leading away from the porch. But then, the lights flickered, and the radio cut out. Silence. The air felt wrong, like the moment before a thunderstorm. Static, heavy, waiting. And then, 3 slow knocks. Boom, boom, boom. Not at the door. Not at the window. From the ceiling. I froze. The thing wasn't outside anymore. It was above me. Boom, boom, boom. The knocks came from above me. From the ceiling. My blood ran cold. I lifted my rifle, slowly, my breath hitching in my throat. The cabin was 1 floor. There was no attic, no crawl space. Nothing should be up there, but something was. Something that had been outside the window just seconds ago. Something that had moved too fast. Something that was now above me, watching, waiting, and smiling. I took a step back, my boots creaking against the wooden floor. The air felt thick, wrong, like I was being suffocated. The radio was dead. The lights flickered, casting long, twisting shadows across the walls. I swallowed hard. Then, another knock. Boom, boom, boom. Slow, deliberate. It wasn't trying to break through. It was letting me know it was there, playing with me. I tightened my grip on the rifle, forcing myself to breathe. I had to get out. Now. I moved fast. I grabbed my bag, slinging it over my shoulder. I reached for the back door, away from the porch, away from the truck. I needed to get to the service road, 1/2 mile. That's it. I could make it. I unlatched the door, heart pounding. Then, the knocking stopped. Silence. The kind of silence that feels wrong, like something was waiting for me to move. I exhaled slowly. 1 step, 2 steps. I eased the door open, the cold night air rushing in. Darkness. Stillness. Nothing moved. For the first time, I thought, maybe it was gone. Maybe it had. The ceiling groaned. I barely had time to move. Something heavy slammed into the floor where I had been standing. Wood splintered. Dust exploded into the air. I staggered back, coughing, my flashlight swinging wildly, and I saw it, crouched in the debris in the middle of the cabin. It had fallen from the ceiling, not through the ceiling, from it, like it had just stepped down from nowhere. My chest tightened. The thing wasn't human. It had never been human. Its arms were too long, its limbs bent the wrong way. Its head was tilted at an unnatural angle, and its face was still mine. I bolted. I didn't think, I just ran. Out the door, into the freezing air, my breath coming in ragged bursts. The trees rushed past me, shadows closing in from all sides. Branches lashed at my arms, the underbrush snagging at my legs, but I didn't stop. The service road, half a mile. I could make it. Behind me, I heard footsteps, not running, just following, like it knew I wasn't getting away. I ran like my life depended on it, because it did. The service road was half a mile ahead, just past the tree line, just beyond the overgrown brush. If I could make it, if I could just get to the main highway, I could. A sound, too close. A low, wet exhale, right behind me. I didn't look back. I couldn't. Every muscle in my body screamed at me to keep moving, to push forward, but I could feel it. It wasn't running after me. It was gliding, sliding through the trees like it didn't even need to move its legs. And it was gaining. The wind howled through the branches, the leaves rattling like bones. The world felt smaller, like the trees were closing in around me. My flashlight bounced wildly, illuminating the twisted shadows stretching across the forest floor. The footsteps behind me never changed, never rushed, never stumbled. Just that slow, steady pursuit, like it knew, like it had already won. My lungs burned. My legs screamed in protest. I wasn't going to make it. The realization hit me like a brick wall. I was running as fast as I could, pushing myself beyond anything I had ever felt before, and yet, it was still catching up, still closing the distance, still right behind me. The service road was close now. I could see it just beyond the trees, a narrow, overgrown path leading out of the forest, cutting straight toward the highway. I could make it. I had to. I pushed forward. Then, the whisper, Wes, directly in my ear, my own voice. I stumbled, tripped, fell hard. My rifle slammed into the dirt, skidding out of reach. I barely caught myself, hands scraping against the rocks and roots. And for the first time, I looked back. The thing was there, not even 10 feet away, crouched, waiting. Its smile was wider now. Its teeth, God, its teeth were too sharp. And its eyes, those glowing amber eyes. They were so close I could see my own reflection in them. And the thing that looked back at me wasn't human. I lunged for my rifle, fingers closing around the grip, yanking it toward me. The thing moved, too fast. A blur of motion, a distortion in the air. 1 second, it was crouched. The next, it was right in front of me, leaning down, its face inches from mine. And in my own voice, it whispered, "You're not getting away." The thing was inches from my face. Its breath was cold, seeping into my skin like fingers crawling beneath my flesh. I could see every detail now, the stretched, waxy skin, the way its lips curled too far at the edges, the teeth that weren't quite human, and its eyes, those burning amber eyes, locked onto mine, like they were studying me, drinking me in, wearing me. "You're not getting away." My voice, but wrong, so wrong. The sound of it sent something primal clawing through my chest. I had to move. I had to. I swung the rifle. A desperate, instinctive reaction. The butt of the gun smashed into its face, and for the first time, it recoiled. A sharp, inhuman twitch, like it hadn't expected me to fight back, like it was amused. I didn't wait. I scrambled to my feet, my legs screaming in protest, blood dripping from my scraped hands. I ran. I didn't look back. The service road was just ahead, just beyond the brush. I could see the faintest glow of headlights, distant, far away but real. I could make it. I had to. I pushed forward. Then, the air changed. It felt thicker, heavier, like I was wading through something unseen. And then, the forest shifted. I don't know how else to describe it. 1 second, I was running toward the clearing. The next, the trees were all wrong. The road was gone. The air stank of rot, of something old, something waiting. I skidded to a halt, my heart hammering. No, 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 no. The service road had been right there. I had seen it, hadn't I? The headlights. Where were they? Where the hell was I? A low, distorted whisper curled around me. You don't belong here, Wes. I whipped around, and there it was, standing in the trees, just beyond the shadows, waiting, watching, smiling, like it had been here the whole time, like it had led me here, trapped me. And then, it spoke again. Go ahead. It lifted a hand, gesturing to the nothingness around me. Run. And that's when I realized it was letting me. It wanted to see what I would do, like a predator playing with its food. I clenched my jaw. I wasn't going to play its game. I tightened my grip on the rifle, my breath coming fast and uneven. If it was going to toy with me, then I was going to make it regret it. I raised the barrel, and I pulled the trigger. Boom. The gunshot roared through the trees. The recoil slammed into my shoulder, rattling my bones. But the thing, it didn't flinch. It just tilted its head, like it was bored, like it was disappointed. And then, it took a step forward. The gunshot echoed through the trees, swallowed by the thick, unnatural night. I didn't miss. I couldn't have. But the thing didn't fall. It didn't even stagger. It just tilted its head, like it was bored, like I had done something disappointing, like it was waiting for me to realize that bullets wouldn't work. A sick, twisting dread coiled in my stomach. I gritted my teeth, racking the bolt, chambering another round. Come on, you son of a bitch, I hissed. I fired again. Boom. The second shot tore through its chest. This time, the thing moved. Not from pain, not from force, but like it was letting me think I had done something, like it was playing along. Its smile widened. I took a step back. Then, it mimicked me, perfectly. I stepped back. It stepped forward. I breathed in. It breathed out. Still wearing my face, still watching me, still hungry. My hands were shaking now. I was running out of options. I couldn't fight it. I couldn't outrun it. In the forest, Jesus Christ, the forest wasn't right anymore. The service road was gone. The highway was gone. I was standing in a place that shouldn't exist. And it was here with me. I clenched my jaw. Frank, I whispered into the radio. Static. I clicked it again. Frank, for the love of God, answer me. More static. Then, a breath. A human breath. Then Frank's voice. Wes. I nearly collapsed in relief. Jesus Christ. Frank. Wes, listen to me. His voice was low, urgent. Whatever you do, don't let it touch you. I stopped breathing, and then I heard it. The crunch of leaves. Right behind me. I turned too late. Something grabbed my wrist. The coldest thing I had ever felt. Not just cold, like something sinking beneath my skin. I gasped, my vision blurring, my head spinning. It was in my bones, in my veins, like it was draining me, like it was pulling something out of me, like I was slipping away. My knees buckled, the world tilted, and then it spoke. You're mine now, Wes. And everything went black. Darkness swallowed me. Not like fainting, not like sleep. Something worse, something deeper. Like I had been ripped out of my own body. Like I was floating somewhere I wasn't supposed to be. Somewhere empty. Somewhere cold. I couldn't feel my hands. I couldn't feel anything, but I could still hear it. That thing, it was inside my head. You're mine now, Wes. And for the first time, I felt it pulling, tearing at something inside me. Something I didn't even know could be taken. Like it was replacing me. Like it was filling the empty space I left behind. Like soon, it would be me, and I would be nothing. Then the radio crackled. Distant. Weak. But there. Wes. Can you hear me? Wes. Fight it. Frank's voice. A lifeline. I tried to speak. I tried to move. Nothing. Then, pain. A white-hot searing pain that exploded through my chest, like I had been set on fire from the inside. I gasped. And suddenly, I was back. I sucked in air, collapsing onto the dirt, my body slamming back into reality. The thing was still holding my wrist, but now, it was screaming. Not in pain, not in fear, but in rage. Like something had gone wrong, like it wasn't supposed to let go. I ripped my arm free, scrambling backward, my chest heaving. Everything hurt. My head was pounding, my vision spinning, but I was still here. I was still me. And the thing, for the first time, it looked surprised, like it had been interrupted, like it hadn't finished. I didn't wait. I didn't think. I ran. The world was still wrong. The service road was still missing. The trees were still twisting, still shifting like they weren't part of the real world anymore. But I could feel something changing. Like whatever had happened, whatever had just saved me had shaken the thing. Like it had been cut off before it could take me. I didn't understand. I just knew I had to keep moving. So I did. I ran. And behind me, for the first time, the thing didn't follow. I ran, not thinking, not feeling, just moving. The air felt wrong, like the space around me was still shifting, still trying to decide what was real and what wasn't. The thing wasn't following, but that didn't mean I was safe. I could still feel it, like a stain in the air, like something lingering in the back of my mind, waiting for a way back in. I needed to get out. I needed to find the road. I forced my legs to move, pushing through the tangled brush branches, scraping against my skin, roots grabbing at my boots like they wanted to pull me down. Then, I saw it. The service road, right in front of me, like it had been there the whole time, like it had been waiting for me to find it. I stopped cold. My breath hitched. Something wasn't right. I had run this way before. I had been right here, but the road wasn't there then. Now it was, like it had just appeared, like it had been put there. For me, a cold, primal dread twisted in my gut. This was too easy. The thing hadn't chased me, because it hadn't needed to, because it had let me get here, because this wasn't over. Not yet. I took a step back. I didn't trust this. I didn't trust any of this. The radio crackled. I nearly jumped out of my skin. Wes, do you see it? The road. Frank's voice clear now. No more static. No more whispers underneath his words. Just Frank. I grabbed the radio, my hands shaking. Yeah, I said. But something's wrong. A sharp breath on the other end. Then, I know. But you have to take it. I clenched my teeth. I wanted to argue. Every instinct in my body told me this was a trap. That if I set foot on that road, I'd never leave this place. But what other choice did I have? I turned, scanning the dark forest. The thing wasn't here, but I could feel it watching, waiting. And if I stayed out here any longer, I didn't want to know what would happen. I took a breath, and I stepped onto the road. The moment my foot hit the pavement, the air shifted. The forest groaned like something had just been ripped open. The weight in my chest lifted. The shadows around me pulled back, and for the first time, I felt like I was really here, like I had been stuck somewhere else this whole time, like I had finally stepped back into the real world. I exhaled, my legs nearly giving out beneath me. I wasn't safe yet, but I was closer. I started walking, and behind me, far back, deep in the woods, something laughed. Not close, not chasing me, just amused. Like this was just a game, like I had only made it this far because it had let me, like it was already waiting for the next time we'd meet. The laughter faded into the distance, but it never really left. I could still feel it, like a whisper curled around the edges of my mind, waiting for me to slip up, waiting for me to look back. I didn't. I kept moving, one step, then another. The road felt too long, too quiet, like the world was holding its breath, waiting to see if I'd actually make it out. The highway was ahead. I could see the faint glow of streetlights in the distance, flickering between the trees. I was so close. Then, the radio crackled. Frank's voice, sharp and urgent. "Wes, don't stop. No matter what. Do you hear me?" I gritted my teeth, adjusting the strap of my rifle. "I know, Frank. I'm not stopping." But even as I said it, I felt it. A presence. Not behind me, not ahead. Beside me, walking in step with me. I knew better than to look, but I could see it. In my peripheral vision, a shape, a shadow, too tall, too thin, moving exactly as I moved, not chasing, just there. A reminder, a warning. You think you're free? Not yet. Maybe not ever. The road stretched on. The weight of the thing beside me was unbearable. The closer I got to the highway, the more I felt it pressing against me, like it was resisting, like it was pushing back, trying to keep me here. The trees on either side seemed to shift, their twisted branches reaching out, trying to close the road off again. I pushed forward. 10 more steps. Then, a whisper, right in my ear. "Wes." My body locked up. The world tilted. The weight was crushing now, pressing against my chest, against my mind, like it was trying to pull me back in, like it was trying to take me again. I clenched my jaw so hard it hurt. 5 more steps. My vision blurred. The weight grew stronger, like 1,000 invisible hands were gripping me, trying to hold me still. I forced my feet forward. 2 more steps. I was almost there. 1. And then, I crossed the threshold. The pressure vanished, like something had just been ripped away. The air changed. The road behind me felt different now. Distant. Like whatever had been there wasn't allowed past this point. I stumbled forward, collapsing to my knees on the side of the highway, my breath ragged. I had made it, but I didn't feel safe, because I knew this wasn't over. The radio crackled. Frank's voice came through, relieved, but tense. "Wes?" I swallowed hard, gripping the radio. "I made it," I rasped. A long pause. Then, "Look behind you." My heart stopped. Frank's words froze me. "Look behind you." No, no. Every instinct, every shred of survival left in me, screamed not to do it. I had made it out. I had crossed the threshold. But if I looked, if I gave it one last glance, what if that was all it needed? What if it was still there, waiting for me to make a mistake? I clenched my jaw. "Frank," I whispered into the radio, not turning around. "Tell me what you see." The radio crackled. For a long moment, I thought he wasn't going to answer. Then, his voice came through, low, strained. "It's still there, Wes." A shudder ripped through me. I could feel it, somewhere behind me, standing, watching. I kept my eyes locked straight ahead. "Is it moving?" I whispered. Frank hesitated. Then, barely above a breath, "No." A long silence stretched between us. Then Frank exhaled. "But it's smiling." I fought the urge to run. Not back into the forest. I would never go back in there. But somewhere, anywhere, someplace it couldn't reach me. But the truth was, I didn't know if such a place existed. I wasn't sure if I would ever be alone again. I had made it out, but something had changed. Something had followed. Something had marked me. And it was still there. Still watching. Still smiling. Still waiting. The radio crackled. Frank's voice was quieter now, like he was thinking about something he didn't want to say out loud. "Wes, I don't think it's going to leave." My stomach twisted. I already knew that, but hearing it out loud made it real. I had made it out, but I wasn't free. And deep down, I knew I never would be. The highway stretched ahead, empty, silent. No headlights, no passing cars, just me, standing on the pavement, gripping the radio so hard, my fingers ached. Behind me, it was still there, watching, waiting, smiling. Frank's voice was still coming through the radio, but I barely heard it now. His words were just noise against the silence pressing in around me. Because I knew the truth now. This thing, it wasn't just something I had escaped from. It was something I had brought with me. Something that had latched on. Something that wasn't going away. Not tonight. Not ever. I forced myself to move, one foot in front of the other, toward the highway, toward the world that still made sense. But even as I walked, I knew, I could feel it. That weight, that presence, no longer trapped in the forest, no longer bound to that place. It had followed. It had me now. It wasn't going to chase me. It didn't have to, because it was patient, because it could wait, because it knew, eventually, I would slip. Eventually, I would let my guard down, and when I did, it would smile, and it would take me, for real this time. The radio crackled again. Frank's voice, soft. "Wes, what are you gonna do now?" I didn't answer, because I didn't know. I just kept walking, and somewhere behind me, the thing in the dark smiled, and waited.